Hey, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever the case may be, because I have no idea when you hit the play button. This is the old Vinyl Village Garage, the Firebird Restoration Station, where we fix these old birds up, make them like new every step of the process. We're going to put on the video just for you. And today's project is removing the window regulator and glass out of these cars. You ever try to get these out of here and kind of scratch your head? How the heck do you get it out? That's what I'm about to show you here today. It's really not complicated. In all seriousness, from beginning to end, you do a bunch of these, you can have it out in less by 15, 20 minutes, but probably gonna have a little more time, so I'm gonna drag you along, show you the details, what it takes, what you need to make it happen, but relatively actually not too bad. And I guess I don't want to say simple, but skill level, not too difficult. Most of you can handle this at home, just in case your window is damaged from sandblasting, overspray, sanding. These things are 50 years old. They've got some problems. Now, in this car, though, the glass is special. There's something really neat about the glass that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to be very delicate in getting these out because I'm going to reuse them, and I'll show you why. All right, let's get started. Of course, get the glass out. You got to get inside the car. And first step, actually going to go ahead and remove that door panel and get the heck out of the way. So you're going to need a screwdriver for that, and then the magic tool to pop off the window crank. And there's different techniques, but I'm going to use the actual tool because I have one. But there's tricks for the trade, like a rag, screwdriver, pick, but that sounds like too much like work to me. And once you get that all off, the only thing you're going to need is a 7/16 socket and a little 1/4-inch ratchet. That's all you're going to need. So basically, if the door panel wasn't on there, you just need one socket and a ratchet to get this dude apart. Now, of course, taking the door panel off, I'm not going to drag you along for that because I think that's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. A couple of screws and pull that thing off. So watch this. Easy as this, the thing will disappear. And done. Now, basically, when you're getting ready to do all this, there's really only 4 parts to getting this thing out of here if you want to keep it in that idea. You have the window regulator here. You have a rear track, front track, and then the glass. Now, really, to get that thing out of there, it's super simple to get the regulator out of the way. Just go ahead and do that and be done with it. Then you got to wrestle these 2 track mechanisms out. And that's how, then after that, the secret combination to get the glass out of the door. So we're going to start here by getting the 4 bolts that attach the regulator to the door. And there's 2 bolts here. Then you can actually fix that regulator assembly out of this opening here. Now, of course, it's probably not a bad idea. If you've not taken a lot of these apart, mark the bolts where they're at. All the glass is relatively adjusted. If you're going to put it back in the same way or the same glass back in, I'd maybe mark all the adjustments, but I'm not. I'm going to start all over because that's all new panels. All cars going to be torn apart. I'll actually get into a video on how to get all the adjustments because you got to stop in the front, the rear, stop on the regulator. You got glass adjustment in and out. There's a lot of actually adjustments to these things. Actually, before I get too carried away, do yourself a favor. Bring the glass down a little bit lower, opening here and here, so you can actually remove the glass from the regulator. There's a nut here and here. Almost forgot to do that. Too busy talking cars. Now you can actually pull that off the glass. And you can see then the glass moves freely. And if only it would just come out of now, I'd be done. Not the case. Okay. Now, it's sometimes now, of course, you saw slide the glass up, hold one hand, the other hand, pull this regulator right out of the back of the car. Don't let this slam down, but hey, there you go. Now, if you were just servicing the regulator, we're done. Now, what I like to do, of course, it's a greasy mess, which is good. I like to put the bolts back where they came from. It keeps them organized. You know where they're at. And when you go put it back together, you got everything you need. So couple, 2-3 turns on each of these. And I'll wrap this up with some tape and label it. It's good to go in the parts pile. Now, we'll get you a little bit closer. Now we got to get into getting these window tracks out of here. The rear one here, of course, you're looking at the rear of the door. These 2 bolts hold it. And you got actually a bolt under this gummy, pucky, gooey stuff here. I'll pop that off in a second. But we have to remove this here. This is actually a stop adjustment. If you ever get into adjusting to where the glass stops in the rear, actually it's a slot, as you can see. But to get it apart, we just need to straight up remove this little stop here. So take these 2 bolts out first, grab that thing there. So when you go to remove this track out, it has to actually slide all the way. The glass has to come out of the top of it, essentially. You got to take it loose and then actually turn about 90 degrees and slide the thing off of the roller down here. But to do that, must remove this first. So I'm going to pop these 2 loose here, get that off. And then on the front, there's a bolt behind this little plastic panel. And then these 2 bolts here. And then you can actually do the same thing, kind of be a bit of a contortionist. You got to turn that thing sideways and slide it off the glass kind of this direction. So I'm going to get those things pulled out of the way, but I want to get you up close. And these here are like the window guides. They are different front and rear. See, this one's actually a little notch here or a little piece kind of hanging out. This one doesn't have that. Label them how you want, but I'm going to pop both these out of the way too because they need to come out and get enough room to get the glass to come out of that door. You actually see the original autumn bronze in here. I love that color. Really like it. And if only the whole car looked that good still. But I guess they soon enough. Same there. Oh, yep. Well, never been apart. Okay. All right, now that's loose. Ideally, okay, now, like I said, it's got to slide out the top, and that's what we've done, because the bottom, well, it won't go that way, so you have to go all the way out the top. Stops out of the way, but just because I'm a stickler for this, put this back where it's at, because who knows? I've been known to take a car apart and about 15 years later get around to putting it back together. Not going to be the case of this car, but definitely helps the memory when you go back later. Where the heck did the bolts go and which bolts went where? So, just I guess a good practice. I've seen the other aftermath. You throw it all in one coffee can and then you play the bolt guessing game. Put the wrong bolt in the wrong spot too long, stab through and break something. So, this works. I'm going to do the same in the front. For some reason, I have a little more trouble with the front one. Just, I think probably the room inside the door itself. But take the 3 fasteners loose, pull the glass back up. And if you got someone to help you, it's probably a little better to hold that glass. But we'll go ahead and get these ones, blow it out of here. And I still have the big prize as for why we were using these pieces of glass. All right. I wanted to get you in a little bit closer so you can see what's going on. But put a little arrow there pointing at that roller. You see the track down here. I've got the glass propped up. It's getting ready to slide it right out. You got to kind of work it out of those two little grooves where the two bolts are at. And you drop that piece of the regulator out on the bottom. So it's getting ready to come out. But unfortunately, I got one hand on the glass, one hand on the camera. And I'm flying solo this evening in the garage. So I can't really show you the exacts how I got that far. But you understand, you work the glass kind of up out of the door. You can barely see it because it's nice and clear. Ooh, there's a clue. And then we're going to work on getting the thing out of there. Once you get the regulator out of the way, then it's just getting the glass out of the door. If you've been here before, it can be a bit of a pickle. Let me show you how I do it. All right. Now, regulator's out of the way. I'm going to pull the glass up. Sometimes you can sneak the front out of here. You get it just right. Get the front. You can see it's tilted back quite a ways. You get the front out, and you got to drop the back. Well, I got it snagged now. Well, heck. It needs to go back in the door. There we go. Bring it forward as the opening's a whole lot bigger. And there you go. And the reason we want to salvage this glass, I kind of pointed out briefly once, you've been following the whole series, this is not that common. It's kind of a neat addition that some cars received and some didn't. It's a huge mystery, sort of, but not really now. But I think it's a great addition to this car, and I want to preserve this and put these back on. So being very careful with these pieces of glass. I got them both someplace, got to store them nice so I get this car done so I don't tear them up in the meantime. So let's get this thing put away. Hey, so there you have it. 20 minutes total, even dragging you along with the camera in one hand and glass in the other, and hope the guy didn't drop that thing and break it, because that would be horrible, horrible news to break that piece of glass. Got them both out. The reason we went this way instead of working with the oily bits, like I said last time, well, I went to schedule the sandblaster guy to help me out. Coming to find out when someone says I know a guy, well, in this case, I actually did. I do know the guy doing the sandblasting. Small world. Worked with him a few years ago, and he's going to help me get the old Great Pumpkin all blasted and pretty and nice and new, and I'm going to drag you guys along with that journey. So fortunately, when I called, he actually bumped me up in the schedule, it seems. So unfortunately, it's going to put a delay on that, but it's going to keep us moving forward on the body. Yeah, just get it sandblasted, and then we'll get back into the oily bit. So I'm sorry if you're looking forward to that. It's going to happen. I don't like going backwards on what I said, but it just worked out. I expected 2 or 3 weeks backed up on this where I would actually get the thing meaty blasted. Nope, going to try to do this weekend, weather permitting. So I guess there's a chance I still might get into the oily bits, but I think it'd be a whole lot cooler to see what it takes to get one of these cars sandblasted. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. Now you know how to get your first gen F-body windows out of your car. 67 is a little different because it has that quarter window, but essentially sort of slightly the same. But nonetheless, get Jack out here, whichever way it be, oily bits or sandblasting. I'll definitely be grabbing the camera and dragging you along for the journey just the same. And of course, appreciate you following me. Hit the like and subscribe, please, and share with your friends, because I want to see this thing get a whole lot more bigger and more gooder. I just said that again, but I need to go find me some Orange Mountain Dew. I've had enough fun this evening. I'll wrap it up. I'll get the camera, and we'll catch you guys next time.